In breaking news, it seems that Justin Langer has been ousted from Cricket Australia as he's handed in his resignation even after winning them a 4-0 Ashes series and a T20 World Cup in recent months. It seems that Pat Cummings in the recent board meeting didn't back the head coach and said that we need someone new. And Cricket Australia agreed with this. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, cricketers and cricket enthusiasts, and of course, you great cricketers all listening to this wonderful podcast, The Sunday Cricketer. I am your host, Josh McQuaid, and today we're diving in, I know I'm a bit late to this, we're diving in to Justin Langer's surprise resigning from being Australia head coach. Now, this is interesting for me, because Justin Langer has just won a T20 World Cup, as well as a 4-0 Ashes series in Australia, which should have been 5-0 if we all saw it. But Cricket Australia decided only a 6-month extension was the way to go, which I think is a bit fucked off for Cricket Australia to do to the man. Now, I'm going to read a couple of articles I have up here that explore it in more detail than I can give you myself, and I'll go through and discuss what I think of these articles as well as of what has happened, because I think it's very unjust for what's happened to Justin Langer after his amazing performances recently. I know they've had the ups and downs, but it looks like they were heading upwards. They're now ranking number 1 test team in the world after, absolutely destroying England. But it's Justin Langer. This is the article by Sky Sports. Justin Langer resigns as Australia head coach after turning down short-term contract extension. That was a 6-month extension. Cricket Australia said Langer was offered a short-term extension to his contract, which sadly he opted not to accept. Andrew McDonald, an assistant coach under Langer, has been appointed interim head coach. Fair enough there. You normally do that. Justin Langer has resigned as head coach of Australia just weeks after leading his side to Ashes victory in England. The 51-year-old has held position since being appointed in 2018, and they've done quite well since 2018 when he's been in. Following the board time-ring scandal in South Africa, with Langer guiding Australia to a maiden T20 World Cup victory last November before being in charge for their 4-0 Ashes success on home soil. Langer held discussions with Cricket Australia on Friday over his future ahead of his contract expiring in June, with the former opening batsman turning out a short-term extension to stay in the role. In a statement, Cricket Australia said Cricket Australia has accepted men's team head coach Justin Langer's resignation, which was received today. Justin Langer was offered a short-term extension to his current contract, which sadly has opted not to accept. CA would like to thank Justin for his outstanding leadership since he became Australia men's team coach in 2018, and for guiding the team to the T20 World Cup last year and the 4-0 Ashes series. Now, they've got another T20 World Cup coming up this year. That's in Australia, and you're not having Justin Langer as the coach after winning the last one. I question that sadly. Justin Langer is not only a legend of the game, but an outstanding individual. What is he? Is that why you decided not to have him as your coach anymore? Yeah, I question that shit. The contract extension offered to Justin was a result of a thorough review process that evaluated many factors, including future requirements of the team and upcoming extensive schedule of fixtures. Bullshit. The extension was approved by the CA board and was put to Justin last night, and including the opportunity to defend the T20 World Cup title in Australia at the end of this year. Justin informed CA this morning he was not going to accept the offer and will resign with immediate effect. Andrew McDonald has now the assistant coach has now been appointed interim head coach with official duties beginning with Australia's upcoming T20 International Series versus Sri Lanka, which is now ongoing. Basically his questions that Langer could now be up for the job in England after Christian was sacked for the role of a disastrous 21-1, of course, losing the Ashes series. So there's potential there. Langer, Kristen Stewart are England's head coach contenders, so it'll be interesting to see if he can get the role in England, because no offense, I think England would be fine getting their asses whipped into gear, unlike the Australian batsman. Justin Langer, in this report to The Guardian, said that it's in everyone's best interest that he leaves. He came to the realisation that players did not want him to be there and continue at the national cricket team coach only through media reports. In his resignation letter published by New Corp on Sunday, Langer cited his reasons for deciding to walk away. He told Cricket Australia on Saturday morning he was resigning effective immediately with no interest in taking up the short-term deal offered after almost 4 years on the job, which is quite gutting that he's 4 years and he has a 6-month extension. Question that. The former Test great wanted to sign a long-term contract, however, CA did not want to do that. Having been away from home since the first week of October, Friday was tumultuous day, and with quarantine restrictions, now that I'm back in Perth, I'm unable to do anything public at the moment, but I want people to know I'm happy with my decision and proud of what I've achieved, Langer wrote in the email to CA bosses, including Chief Executive Nick Hockley. There's been a great deal of media speculation on my future as Australia's main coach over the last 12 months, and this has taken an enormous toll on my family. I hope through this time and throughout my tenure, I have held myself with integrity and dignity. Apparently you haven't, Justin, according to the players. If media reports are correct, several senior players and a couple of support staff don't support me moving forward, as now appear at the CA board, and you, Nick, are also keen to see the team move in another direction. I respect the decision. There's been speculation about Langer's future in the role since last summer's home test series loss to India, which, in all fairness, they were up, and they choked it, and that wasn't on Langer, that was on the fucking players. When reports of discontent among players about Langer's intensity emerged, he may have hoped that he had been resolved as he took a more hands-off role during the subsequent T20 World Cup triumph and recent home Ashes success. Now, mate, I don't care if you're intense. Whip them into fucking shape. They're useless bastards and they are spineless. My life has been built on values of honesty, respect, trust, truth, and performance, and if that comes across as too intense at times, I apologise, Langer wrote his resignation. Now, I'm going to talk about this. He should not be apologising for this, and the reason I'll say he shouldn't be is the same thing happened to the New Zealand Hockey's women coach. He was intense, he was whipping them into shape, was hard on them, doing all that kind of shit, and you know what happened? They fired him because some of the players didn't like him, but some of them did. So they fired him, and now they've slumped down to being a shit hockey team again because the guy was a good coach. Like, brain, I just don't get it. I just don't fucking get it at all. But yeah, it is said that in any venture, if you leave things in a better place than when you started, then you have done your job. Whilst it's not up to me to judge, I hope I hope Australians respect what has been achieved over the last 4 years in Australian cricket. Langer has received an outpouring of support from former teammates and ex-Australian players, which I'm not surprised because he is a man of integrity and a man that should have been keeping the job. So I'm not surprised that that's all happened. I am disappointed that Australia have decided to let go of such a great coach. Some people now... this has come out from also Sky Sports saying Justin Langer quit Australia head coach role due to lack of player and board support, according to report. Like I was talking about before, he was cut out basically because he apparently was too intense on the players. If a video was correct that came out of Tim Payne talking to him saying, we don't want to be like you, Justin. We know you like to attack the ball and stuff, but we want to be calm. God, they're being relaxed. I'm like, bro, you fucking guys are getting rolled. You're relying on Steve Smith and Labuschagne. Listen to the fucker who carried Australia as one of the best opening batsmen of all time when you guys can't do shit. Don't give me that shit. Don't give me that shit, Tim Payne. Don't give me that shit, Cummings, and after that. Yeah, it's honestly just absolutely it's disappointing. But yeah, apparently Need for Unity led to Langer's exit, which I call... absolute bullshit. Now, Alex Carey was the first player to speak out, and this is a report by the Mirror on what he said. Australia's wiki about Alex Carey has become the first current player to speak out about Justin Langer's resignation as head coach. Despite leading Australia to Ashes and T20 World Cup success, he was left. I believe it is in everyone's best interest for Australian cricket team to begin the next chapter, he wrote. He respects the decision and all that, blah, blah, blah. However, Carey has denied it, suggesting that the rift between Langer and the players caused him to quit. I don't think so. Everyone respects the man highly. He's obviously an Australian cricket legend, Carey told Channel 7. So why the fuck is he not the captain's coach still? It's obviously bullshit, Carey. It's obviously bullshit. I'm a little bit surprised, but it's now about the stability of the team and trying to win games of cricket moving forward. Former Australian captain Ricky Ponting, however, has accused the players of turning to push Langer out of the job, so trying to push him out of the job. Ponting said... me knowing Justin the way that I do, he was very keen to continue in the role as he should have been after what has been the best current coaching period of his international career, having just won the T20 World Cup and then the 4-0 Ashes series. Reading the tea leaves, it sounds like a few, and as he says to me, a small group in the playing group and a couple other staff around the team haven't entirely loved the way he has gone about it. That's been enough to force a man who has put his life and heart into Australian cricket and done a successful job at turning things around, the culture and the way the Australian team has been looked at in the last few years to push him out of the job. Now, I read that and I see Ponding's point, because Justin has done a lot. If you actually look at it and you understand that now, fucking Justin has done a shit ton to improve Australian cricket, and it's a very surprising point that they fired him. Well, basically, they were looking to fucking fire him like 6 months, and then basically you're out and we'll get someone else in. And Justin Lang is like, nah, fuck you. And now he's looking for the English job. But here we are. This is what Pat Cummings had to say when he finally broke his silence. He said, but before this, Cummings was copped some criticism for gutless media appearances leading up to Langer's resignation, or several former players condemning the pace bowler for not backing the coach. But the new South Welshman has released a statement ahead of Australia's 5-match T20 series against Sri Lanka, explaining that the team needed a new style of coaching and a skill set. Fuck off, you did. You just won the T20 World Cup and the 4-0 Ashes. You do not need a new coaching style. Cummings also took a pointed swipe at former players who have slammed him in the media, stating that he will continue to stick up to his teammates throughout the transition process. There's been much public comments since Justin Langer's resignation, as the coach of the Australian cricket team. Cummings stated, statement begins, "For good reason, I haven't made public comment before today to speak about the decision when was yet to be made, which is for the Cricket Australian to make, would have put the Cricket Australia and the team in an impossible position. I never do that. I believe in respecting the sanity of the changing room and proper process. Now that decision has been made by Justin Langer to resign, and given his own public comments and others by Cricket Australia, I can prove some clarity. Justin has acknowledged that his style was intense, and it was. He has apologised to players and staff for his intensity. I think the apology was unnecessary because the players were okay with Justin Langer's intensity." Were they? I don't think they were, Cummings. Stop lying for your fucking teeth, you piece of shit. No, they weren't. It came from a good place, his fierce love of Australia and the baggy green, something which has served Australian cricket well for 3 decades. It's what makes him a legend of the sport, and Justin Langer's intensity drive a better team culture and higher team standards. Then why the fuck did you let him go, you piece of shit? There's a significant Justin Langer legacies. Cummings thanked Langer on behalf of the players, adding the former coach intensity was never the issue. Yeah, no it was. Nah, bro. You can't lie to us. We all know it was. And on behalf of the players, I thank Justin. Cummings continued. More than that, we owe him a lot, and Justin will be a welcome face in the changing room in the future. So his intensity was not the issue for the players and the support staff. The question is, what is the best style of coaching for the future, given how the team has evolved? We have been very well schooled in how to play cricket in the right way, in the correct Australian way. We understand the importance of always playing to the highest FL standards, and the players need no motivation, as I've never played with more motivated cricketers. To be better players of Australia from the solid foundation, and its feedback I understand support staff also gave. We welcome the Cricket Australia, invite the players and staff to contribute to CA's evaluation. I add that as professional sports people, we would have accepted any decision CA were to make, because that's what professionals do. CA have made a brave call to transition, given the team before has been winning. Just no. No. That's just some bullshit, okay? Cummings ended with a message for past players in the great Australian cricket fraternity. Finally, we are custodians of cricket with one very big thing in common. Our first duty is to Australian cricket, which is bigger than any one of us, apparently. I take this responsibility seriously. I live and breathe it. We also have a duty to our mates. Many former players have reached out to me and silently offered me their advice, which is welcome. Some others have spoken to the media, which is also welcome and comes from a love of the game and the support of a mate. To all past players out there, I want to say this. Just as you have always stuck up for your mates, I'm sticking up for mine. I'm looking forward to speaking with the media today before training. Now, that's what he said, which is very interesting. Reading that, I say bullshit, because the next thing I read from Fox Crew is, we need more calm and composed. So apparently his intensity wasn't the problem, but Cummings also said, we need someone more calm and composed. What the fuck? Okay, so I've read some articles and heard some other things. I want to go off the script now of the articles and stuff. From what I can see, Justin Langer resigned because he was offered a 6-month extension contract, and to be honest, it's not good enough. Cricket Australia should have offered him a year to 2 years, but apparently by the players and stuff, his coaching style was also not what they wanted. They wanted some more calm, some more, composed, I guess someone that's not so intense, and someone that will, I guess, better their cricketing place after they had just destroyed a couple of teams. And here's a man they brought in, Scott Boland, who is now averaging 9.6. So I don't get what they're on about with needing someone more calm and composed, with Justin Langer absolutely ripping apart England and New Zealand in the final of the T20. So I have to call bullshit on what Pat Cummings has said. I do not think that is the reason. In all fairness, I feel like he resigned because he was, this is one of the best things, was a victim of player power or his own vitality. It's player power. Player power. It's the same thing that's happening to Ralph Rangnick with Man United at the moment, who I follow and love. It's player power. Players have way too much say in Cricket Australians or any decisions made for managers or coaches, and I think the players should have zero say in if the coach stays or not. I think the players, if they don't want to play under a coach, should just leave, and I think they should just step down. But if they want to continue playing for their country, they just have to stick it up and live with the coach. You're not going to get along for all your coaches in your life, but it doesn't mean he's not a good coach. It just means that you're a selfish prick, and you need to understand that you are not a more priority than the coach. The coach runs the team. You're just a player. And I feel that Australian cricket has now allowed the players to control the room and control the power and not allow the coach to hold it. So whoever comes in next, I feel sad for them because I think it's going to be hard for them to gain control of this team and the way they are. So yeah, I will wonder what the hell's going to happen with all this stuff. But yeah, it's very interesting, the Justin Langer saga. It's still ongoing from what I can see. And are we doing a part 2 to this because there's stuff more coming out daily or weekly? But yeah, just hope this all gets fucking sorted and he gets another job, or Australia Cricket own up to their mistake or whatever, because I think it's very appalling to what has happened. But yeah, I thank you all for listening. This has basically been the beginning or talk about Justin Langer's resignation, which I think is a bad decision. But yeah, thank you all for listening to the Sunday Cricketer. I've been your host, Joshua McQuaid, and I peace out to all you great cricketers and all you sitting on the fucking couch on a Sunday listening to this whenever you can, holding a cold beer and enjoying your time. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. If you'd like to help support this podcast, please do go and click down the affiliate link down below. It will help me and help you if you want to grow your own podcast. Also, if you'd like to listen to the audio version of this, go check me out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. It'll help me grow and you grow if you go check me out also on those platforms and listen to me there, as well as YouTube if you want to.